Good morning, LEGO fans! It's Studlord here, and in this video we're going to be having a look at all of the LEGO Ideas themes that are going to be retiring in 2024. I'll be basing the forecasts over the next 3 years off the RRP prices. Of course, I'm no financial advisor, so just take the info and do what you want with it. We'll kick things off with the worst ROI of 21%, and this is the BTS Dynamite set number 21339. This is £90 in the UK or $100 in the US, and this was originally submitted as an Ideas concept back in May of 2021, released in March of 2023, and it'll be disappearing by the end of 2024. Now, this one was a bit of a sensation. It gained momentum and the 10,000 necessary supporting votes for a LEGO's idea within a month. Despite that, unfortunately, it hasn't seen huge commercial success, which is why it's retiring after not too long of a run, and LEGO themselves were heavily discounting this only a couple of months ago, both in the UK and the USA, by around 30% off. Perhaps they'll do so again before this finally disappears. Now, that is a little bit surprising. Naturally, BTS has a very large following, but perhaps it didn't translate over into enough LEGO fans as well. Nonetheless, this is quite an interesting little set. The dance platform that they stand on top of here can be turned using this rotary mechanism here, which means that they will all spin round and dance. Now, obviously, if you are a fan of the BTS K-pop, then you are naturally going to be wanting to pick this up. Otherwise, though, understandably, probably not going to be a normal collector's item, and I would be wary of this from an investment point of view, especially if buying at the retail price. Next up, we have set number 21340. This is Tales of the Space Age, retailing at £45 or $50 US. And this is a cool ideas submission, harking back to the nostalgia of classic space sci-fi, and obviously one, given LEGO's increased foray into the space theme this year, that people are really going to want to pick up. You can create these 4 different postcard style displays, and this one here can actually be rearranged into different constellations using these little star blocks here. It's a really cool little set at a fairly small price tag, and one that fans of space and just general collectors alike are going to want to have on display. Now, perhaps it's because of that it's also forecast for a 25% return on investment over the next 3 years based on the RRP price. Frankly, I just think this is going to be one that's fun to put together and cool to enjoy having on display in your home. So consider picking it up. Next up, we have the Treehouse. This is set number 21318, comes in at £215 or $250 US. Now, this one has been out since 2019, which means it will be retiring sooner during 2024 rather than later. Expect it to go certainly by the middle of the year. Now, this is a fun set full of details. You can interchange the canopy between the green foliage and obviously the autumn-looking leaves, so that you can make it look whether it's going to be during summer or fall as per your preference. It also comes with 4 unique minifigures, none of which are particularly special, but all look pretty good and can of course be used in other sets as well. They're pretty nicely interchangeable. And this is a fairly big set. It comes with 3,036 pieces. It means that it's not bad for the price point, even at RRP, but obviously if you can pick it up for less, that is going to be a bonus. It's still forecast for a 26% ROI over the next 3 years based off of the RRP. Now, this is pretty chock full of interesting elements. It's actually a great source of different brown pieces, nougat pieces, and obviously all of the foliage, just if you are wanting to part it out at all. But actually, it's a really interesting build experience, and it looks fantastic on display. It harks back to that childhood dream of obviously having a tree house for those of us that never actually had one. And of course, it's just beautiful to have on your shelf. For kids, it's also going to offer loads and loads of entertainment play value. And when I say kids, I naturally mean adults as well. And whether or not you're going to be playing with it or having it on display, I'd say this is definitely one to get. Next up, it's everybody's favourite blue hedgehog, as opposed to all the other blue hedgehogs there are out there. This is set number 21331. It's the Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone. Priced in at £70 or $80, this did suffer from an initial price increase. It came out back in 2022. Fortunately, you can still pick it up on discount in several places. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on my weekly deals video, where I find the best discounts on sets for the UK, US, and Europe. This has cropped up before, and it probably will again. Now, this is a very detailed rendition of one of the most famous video game levels ever. It looks fantastic on display, and it is meant more for that than play. but I think this is going to become a real collector's item. It's forecast for a 27% increase ROI over the next 3 years based off of the current RRP. Obviously, if you do pick it up discounted, that's going to be even better, and I'm not surprised. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this actually does quite a bit better. There's going to be lots of Sonic the Hedgehog fans, current and future, who are going to have missed out on this. Perhaps they're not LEGO fans at the moment. When they find out about this set in the years to come, this is going to be really popular. All collectors are going to want to have this, I think. So I suspect that this is going to jump up quite nicely in price. But otherwise, it's just a really good set to have if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan like I am. Beautiful detailing, wonderful to have on display. Obviously, you get the Sonic minifigure as well. So, if that sounds like it's ticking your boxes, go out and grab this before it retires. It's expected to go by the middle of 2024. Next up, with a 28% forecasted ROI, we have set 21332. This is the Globe, £200, $230. I think this is an absolutely fantastic display piece. Some people have said they find it a little bit repetitive to build. Personally, I just found it interesting. Something that I do really like about this is the printed tile elements on here that are actually glow in the dark. It's a really nice touch. Also, you can actually spin it, which is the whole point of the Globe and is fantastic in a LEGO model of this size. Now, for collectors, I would say this is definitely one to pick up. It's just something that you can put literally anywhere in the home and it's going to look amazing. Now, based upon that 28% ROI, this makes for a pretty decent looking investment. However, it's just really interesting to build. It's quite difficult to make round objects, even though we all know that the Earth is truly flat. I mean, come on. But actually, it's just an interesting piece to make. This is set number 40 in the ideas lineup, so the 40th ideas submission that actually got made, which is an added bit of interest as well, and just one that's going to look cool wherever you place it. So, to my mind, bit of a no-brainer. Go and get it before it's gone. Now it's time for one of my personal favourites. It's the Typewriter set 21327. Now this is priced at £215 or $250 and it's forecast for a 29% ROI over the next 3 years. But the real thing that is impressive about this piece is that it's a 1-to-1 scale of a classic typewriter. You can press all the keys, the roller works as well. Frankly, it's just a shame that you can't put ink in it. It's a beautiful display piece, and one that's going to look great if you put it in your home, even if you've never used a typewriter or have ever been a fan of them. Personally, as someone who grew up loving to write my own fictional stories, sadly none of which ever got published, goodness knows why, I'm a hidden genius, as everybody should really know, but I always loved a typewriter. I can remember actually plugging away on a real one, loving the sound, loving the way that the keys felt. This is just a beautiful, beautiful set. So if you're like me and you want it for the nostalgia element, it's just an absolute no-brainer. You should go out and get this before it's gone. Do not miss out. As a collector, I still think that you should get this piece, even if you're not particularly fond of typewriters, because it's amazing to build, fantastic to use, looks super on display. For an investment as well, I think it's also ticking all the boxes. It's got that good ROI forecasted. And again, people will have missed out on this who love typewriters, are going to want this after it has retired. Overall, it's just a fantastic set. It has been out for a while now, so it is time for it to go, probably by the middle of the year, but I'll be sad to see it head off the shelves. Next up, we've got the Fender Stratocaster, set number 21329. Fender originally brought out their Stratocaster back in 1954. And of course, although the design has changed a bit over the years, it's mostly remained the same. And this is a faithful recreation in LEGO. Now, the RRP is £105 or $120. Of course, for all the music lovers out there, particularly our guitarists, this is one that you're going to have on display. But even if you're not musically inclined, this is still such a beautiful piece. Your amplifier can have the top and side taken off so you can actually see the detailing right down to the motherboard on the inside. And it's just a wonderful thing. It's beautifully detailed as well. You've got the 6 strings, you've got the tuners, and even the little tremolo arm. Now, sadly, this isn't one that's good for play. It would be brilliant if you could strum a tune out on it. Sadly, there's only so much LEGO can do. Nonetheless, it's a wonderful building experience, and once you have got it completed, having it on your shelf or indeed anywhere around the home is going to immediately spark interest with anybody who comes in and sees it. And it's just going to be something that puts a little smile on your face every time you look at it. From that point of view alone, it's definitely one worth getting. As an investment, it's also forecast for a 29% ROI over the next 3 years based off that RRP. So also one well worth considering. And lastly, for our ideas themed sets retiring in 2024 that we know of at the moment at least, is set 21334, the Jazz Quartet. This priced in at £90 or $100. It actually has the highest ROI, 38% forecast over the next 3 years. Now, this has a little bit of a niche appeal to it, and perhaps that's why it's been overlooked by quite a few people, hence explaining why they're going to want it after it's gone. I definitely think from a collection point of view, it is more niche, whether you're going to want to actually have this built and put on display, but it is an interesting build experience. Obviously with our buildable, posable figures and also all of the instrument that comes with it, the drum kit being the most interesting, I think. Of course, you don't have to be a jazz fan to actually appreciate what a good looking set this actually is. It doesn't take up that much space, but it sure has quite a bit of impact from a visual point of view. So as a collector, I would say this is very much going to be down to your own personal preferences as to whether or not you're going to want to be picking this up. As an investment, it looks extremely promising, so definitely one well worth looking into more. And from a build experience, it is quite enjoyable, interesting in the way that it is actually put together, and you've got lots of good elements all coming together into a small set that has a big impact. One that's definitely worth considering getting before it is gone. So there you have it. That wraps up the sets retiring from the Ideas theme in 2024. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. That way you won't miss out on my Deals of the Week videos when I do them as well. Comment below on what you think about these sets, and thanks again for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.